Good day and welcome to the KIMS Hospitals Q4FY23 financial results conference call hosted by IIFL Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participants' lines will be in a listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during a conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note this conference call is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rahul Jiwani from IIFL Securities Limited. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rahul from IIFL Institutional Equities. I welcome you all to the Q4 earnings conference call of KIMS Hospital. From KIMS, we have with us Dr. Bhaskar Rao Bolineni, Founder and Managing Director, Dr. Abhinay Bolineni, Executive Director and CEO, and Mr. Vikas Maheshwari, Chief Financial Officer. Over to you, sir, for your opening comments.
Okay. Good morning to all of you. Very good morning and a hearty welcome to you all. 2 days back, that is 16th May 2023, is observed as the International Day of Families. Please accept my greetings of the lovely occasion. Family denotes a sense of belonging and commitment. Family is not necessarily blood. It is the people in our life. As investors, you belong to KIMS family. As such, we walk together and grow together. Now let me have the pleasure of appraising you of the financial and operational highlights for the financial year 2023, which marked another successful and growth-oriented year. The robust growth is a reflection of the trust reposed in KIMS by patients and their relatives on account of its patient care, clinical excellence, coupled with affordability. Now come back to the financial highlights Q4 FY23. A consolidated revenue from operations grew by 54.7% year-on-year basis and a 2.4% on a quarter-on-quarter basis to rupees 5,759.2 million. A consolidated EBITDA pre-Ind AS and other income grew by 38.8% on a year-on-year basis and 8.3% on a quarter-on-quarter basis to rupees 1,563.3 million. Consolidated EBITDA margin stands at 27.1%, which has improved by 1.4% over the previous quarter, led by operational efficiency. The consolidated PAT grew by 18.4% on a year-on-year basis and 20.6% on a quarter-on-quarter basis to rupees 986 million. The consolidated earning per share grew by 15.6% on a year-on-year basis and 22.8% on a quarter-on-quarter basis to rupees 11.7. The financial highlights of the year-on-year financial year 2022 to 23. A consolidated revenue grew by 33.1% to 21,976.7 million in FY23 from 16,508.3 million in FY22. Profit before tax increased by 5.1% to 4,700.8 million in FY23 from 4,473.7 million in financial year 2022. EBITDA pre-Ind AS and other income increased by 12.6% to 5,766.4 in FY23 from 5,122.4 million in FY22. The operational highlights. The average revenue per patient and average revenue per operating bed registered improvements both on quarter-on-quarter and year-on-year basis. The IP and OP volumes displayed a strong growth on year-on-year basis. The expansion project status. KIMS Secunderabad Hospital is expected to be completely shifted to a new state-of-the-art facility by Q2 financial year 24. Nashik, the Greenfield project, and Bangalore semi-brownfield are progressing well and are expected to be operational as per schedule. Vizag Gastro unit is ready and will be operational by Q1 FY24. Thane project's legal documentation work is in progress and expected to be completed by June 23. The hospital is expected to be operational by Q2 financial year 25. On the digital side, SAP has been successfully implemented and gone live at a few of our units and is expected to be fully implemented across all units by the end of financial year 24. We'll let you know about some clinical achievements during this quarter. At KIMS Cuddles, Kondapur, a marathon 12-hour surgery was performed on a 3-day-old baby to help him continue his breathing. Usually such surgeries are performed only on children at least 4 weeks old. The Maharashtrian parents were delighted at the rebirth by doctors to the newborn. Such a newborn is such a major operation to perform can speaks about the teamwork by the neonatologist, the operation surgeons and the post-operative care. A 12-year-old boy suffering from a rebleeding disorder was treated successfully at KIMS Secunderabad. A 58-year-old woman was treated successfully after undergoing a complex cancer-related surgery lasting 7 hours at KIMS Visakhapatnam. That means all our peripheral centers are also geared up to take up the complex surgeries, and we are building that unit in one of the best unit in that region. Endovascular coiling was performed on a 46-year-old patient successfully at KIMS Visakhapatnam, thereby preventing disabling coma. Even though it's a very important event of coiling, prevents a lot of disabled personality and as well as crippled life. Even in place of Visakhapatnam we are performing means that the center has been growing up very well. A Zambian nurse with a severe intestinal damage underwent a life-saving surgery at KIMS Secunderabad after a series of failed surgeries back home. An Iraqi boy with a severe knee deformity was successfully operated at KIMS Kondapur, making him stand straight on his legs with a dignity. This speaks about how our international patients are improvising after the post-COVID. Bilateral ophthalmia case with a brain complication was treated successfully at KIMS Visakhapatnam to prevent blindness. The academic accomplishments and awards. Following are the accomplishments pertaining to Q4 financial year 23. Dr. Sita Jayalakshmi Satluru was honored by the American Academy of Neurology with the 2023 A.B. Baker Teacher Recognition Award. Dr. P. Raghuram, Director of KIMS Yoshalakshmi Center for Breast Diseases, is the first surgeon from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh to be appointed as an international advisor by the Royal College of Surgeons and Physicians of Glasgow from 23 to 26. In this role, he would be providing strategic guidance and advice to the Royal College from India. Our doctors at KIMS having distinguished themselves in academics, also with their valuable contributions to national and international journals. The academics is the most important, and the administrative roles that our consultants are taking will help us to build our organization, to expand our organization into different territories. The neurology academics, Dr. Sita Jayalakshmi Satluru, the epilepsy specialist, published papers in our field of interest epilepsy disorders in international journals of high impact factor. As I already mentioned, we is the second largest epilepsy programs in the country after the first All India Institute which performs. In KIMS, we have performed more than 1,000 epilepsy surgeries, which are at least 80% of the success rate, which is a very, very important for the patient is concerned, the epilepsy, prevention of epilepsy without any drugs. Dr. Zubash Kaur, a renowned neurologist, authored original articles of issues relating to brain stroke that were published in reputed journals and won acclaim. Once you have a brain stroke, then you will be crippled for lifelong with an hemiplegia or a monoplegia or some sort of events. On that, we are doing a lot of research. There are many people who have come with a stroke within time, has went back walking. So that means that is the quality of treatment that the patients are getting, and our consultants are putting an effort to achieve all these things. Dr. Rajendra Kumar Jain and Associates published their research on heart failure studies, Anthem studies in International Journal of Cardiology, how we can able to improvise these heart failures, which is very bothering for the society. So we are doing a research on that. In obstetrics and gynecology, Dr. Vasundhara Devi's original articles on postoperative maternal health were published in international journals. To prevent maternal mortality, we are taking steps to find out what will be the reasons and then how we can able to prevent it. And when we also do all these things, it will help to give a good quality treatment to our patients. Not only that, to improve our existing skills in further, we also conduct some workshops and CME programs, national and international, every quarter, a minimum of 2. One of that 2-day workshop was organized at HICC Novotel, Hyderabad, on hip symposium basics to revision total hip replacement and cadaveric by Dr. Krishna that attracted participants from across the country and internationally. And I would like to share a piece of information that our CFO, Mr. Vikas Maheshwari, had resigned due to personal reasons. We place on record our appreciation for the services rendered by him during his tenure. A form succession plan is in place, and we will be having a new CFO. Patient safety is our prime concern and crux of all our activities. We at KIMS compete with nobody else but ourselves in being more and more responsive, responsible, and respectful in all our activities. Transparency and value adherence is our mantra in discharging our functions. Your trust and support give us wings to translate our plans into actions. The more we serve, the more we grow. The more we grow, the more we share. Investor interests are close to our heart and a fundamental aspect to our growth journey. We have had a productive and a rewarding year, and I can assure you that we will continue with the same verve and tempo to scale even greater heights in the days to come. So thank you very much for patient hearing. If there is anything we can able to answer, we'll go for the question answer session.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. We will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, please press star 1 on your touchtone phone now. Take a first question from the line of Dhara Patwa from Smiths Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. And sir, congratulations on the set of numbers. I have 2 questions. First is like Nagpur facility. So before the acquisition, it had EBITDA margins of around 10%. Even in the previous quarter, it was around 4%, but there was some one-off items. So when can we expect the margin to vamp something like 12-15% margin for this Nagpur facility? First question is that.
Yeah. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, as far as Nagpur is concerned, it is currently at 4-5%. We have already identified the opportunity and where we can bring it to 10-12%. But because it's our first few months into the organization, we're still trying to stabilize things with the doctors' engagements and the other things. Maybe in the next 6 to 8 months, you will see us get to a 10% kind of a margin, 10-11% on the current revenue. And that will be the maximum that we will be able to get from the current revenue. And as we start seeing incremental revenue coming in, you will see at least 40% of that flow straight into our EBITDA.
Okay, so that's...
The last areas that we are focusing on in trying to optimize is 2% on the consumable cost, 2 to 3% on the doctor cost, and the rest of it is in the other cost, which is HR and the other category.
Okay, sir. That's helpful. Second question was on the Thane facility. So if you could provide some color on that, how much bed capacity will be added in the Thane or you will be acquiring, and what all specialties will be there in that hospital and required CapEx for the same?
So on the Thane hospital, it is a 300-bedded hospital with services ranging from accident and emergency care to oncology as well as transplant. So the intent, like we said, we only focus on multi-speciality. This will be our first hospital that we will have oncology right from the beginning and not as an addition subsequently. And it will have all the services that we're providing in any of our other quaternary tertiary care hospitals, including liver transplant and kidney transplant.
So the ARPOB, should we assume the ARPOB the similar level of the company's ARPOB, because oncology is already included and it's a metro city, so 30,000 ARPOB could still be achievable, right?
I think what the competitor in the current geography is around 39,000, 38,000 ARPOB. So yeah, I think definitely 30,000 is something we will see. We should see northwards of 30,000. If not in the first year, maybe in the second year only.
Okay, sir. Sir, CapEx guidance for FY24. Like we already had 350 crore for Nashik and Bangalore. How much additional will we will be spending on Thane facility? The total CapEx for the company.
Vikas, you want to take that?
Yeah. So with respect to the Thane project, though we have taken a technical steps to take this project ahead, we are in touch with one or two institutional investors who can take the asset and it becomes an asset-light model and lease model with us. So that is still in the discussion, and we will finalizing this steps in next 2 to 3 weeks time. If the whole land and building and other equipment comes in our books, means it is not we could not finalize the investor. The project cost something will be between 400 to 450 crore rupees overall project cost for 300 beds. If we have been successful in negotiating the good deal with the investors who can take the assets outside our books, then the capex value will come down by at around 250 crores. So this is the status as on as we progress. We will keep all the investors informed on the final structures which we are going ahead.
Okay, so total capex will be 250 crore for Thane and 350 crore, which is the ongoing capex for Nashik and Bangalore. Correct? Like around 650-700 crore for FY24.
FY24 you should take, yes, that should be the outflow, but Mumbai there is a plus minus depending upon land and building how we are negotiating.
Sure. Got it. Okay, that's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Sagar Shah from Phillip Capital PCG. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So first of all, congratulations to the entire team for posting a decent performance on board. Now, my first question was related to the data actually.
Hello. Sorry, we lost you in between.
Yes.
Hello.
Mr. Sagar?
Hello.
We can't hear you. Hello?
Mr. Sagar, we can't hear you, Mr. Sagar.
Mr. Shah, you may please move to a little quiet area and then ask your question. Thank you. We take a next question from the line of Rishabh Sisodia from Samiksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Congratulations on good set of numbers. Sir, I have two questions. So one is on the payer mix. So if we see our cash portion has decreased from 55-60% towards 50% at the end of Q4 per se, and the similar has been the increase in the insurance shares. So would that explain our higher debtor days for the year, and where should we take it forward?
So the present payer mix, cash and insurance is roughly 79-80%, and it is safe to assume that there will be a deviation of 1 or 2% here and there quarter, depending on the quarter on quarter. But that should be the optimal mix. But as we progress our unit into Bangalore and Mumbai, which is more or less is the cash and insurance market, the payer mix will get better. But with the existing units, that is the safe to assume this is the mix which will continue to maintain 80-20%.
So our debtor days should stay in this range at 40 days, right? And could decrease further.
What's your question?
So our debtor days should stay in this range at 40 days. Would that be a good assumption?
Yeah, that is a safe assumption, yeah.
Okay. The next question is around the KIMS Telangana cluster. So for the quarter, we reported 35% margins, which were 500 bits above quarter. And on the other hospitals, there was slight margin compression on a sequential basis. So is there any seasonality impact on these assets, or how would you explain this?
So in case of, okay, Abhinay, please go ahead.
Yeah. As far as Telangana cluster is concerned, you have a mix of, so wherever the parking expansion has happened is because the consumable cost has come down because of typical case mix, number one. And number two is because of the doctor cost. So you have doctors who are on a fee-for-service model and a minimum guarantee model. So there have been a lot of doctors in the minimum guarantee model who have started performing off late. I mean, it takes them that much time to perform, and then we are seeing progress on those doctors in the minimum guarantee. So because of that, there has been a slight margin expansion. But I think we will continue to maintain that 31-32% kind of a margin at the Telangana mature cluster.
And so, on last question, so how many beds are we planning to add in FY24 capacity? If you could just give me on Nashik and Bangalore, and even Vizag, we are expanding in next year. It would get operationalized in Q1. Abhi?
Hello?
The beds that we will be operationalizing in FY24.
Yeah, so in FY24, we have the Vizag hospital, which is a small gastro hospital, which is 25 beds in size. Then Sunshine, we're relocating from one campus to other, so there's no incremental bed addition. We're looking at Nashik to be operational, which will be in phase one. We will operationalize, though the capacity will be built for 250-300 beds, we will only operationalize 150 beds. And Thane, hopefully, should also be operationalized in FY24.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Anuj Suneja from ICICI Prudential. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, and congratulations to the management on a great set of numbers. So my question is broadly on the lines of the interest cost. So if I can get a guidance on how the interest cost is moving, because I'm seeing a lot of volatility in the last few quarters. And even if I go back like 2 years back, the interest cost was 32 crores, which came down to 16. Now it is up back again in the 30th range. So one, from a quarterly perspective, how should I be looking at it? And overall, how are we looking at the debt numbers going forward? And what would be a comfortable debt to equity ratio that I should be looking at? So a couple of broad questions here.
So let me take this question on the finance cost side. Actually, the quarter second, there was some adjustment because of the Nagpur unit which we acquired. And the first of few of the high cost loan which we refinanced, etc. So that cost has got hit, and in the closing interim there was a few of the provisions which we have to take. So we have cleaned up this. So you should assume that the run rate of at around 6 crore rupees per quarter. So 24 crore rupees is the run rate which you should assume for the interest rate. And as far as the debt trajectory is concerned, Right now we have a net debt position of roughly 300 crore rupees, and we are generating something like that 400 crore rupees of the cash every year. And in the next 2 years, we plan to deploy the same type of the capital. So, but in the interim period, depending upon the project which we are taking, whether it is asset light or asset heavy, depending upon the commercials being agreed, some debt may come upfront. But overall, in next 2 years' time, we should be back on the same positions where we are sitting right now. So right now the current balance sheet is very strong. Cash flow remains very, very strong, and we are deploying the capital for the next leg of the growth, and which is very important to keep the growth momentum continue in the coming quarters. So there will be some debt, and our comfort level, which our board has defined, is 1.5 to 1.575 times of the debt to EBITDA. I think that is the lot of headroom available for us to reach there. So we are very comfortable position on that side.
Okay, sir. Perfectly right. Very helpful. And my second question is on so the last time we met, you mentioned something on the lines of that you're looking at property in Mumbai, somewhere in Andheri or somewhere. So is there any update on that you have that you want to share, or you're still scouting for properties there?
Not in Andheri, but we're looking for something in Malad. We're still trying to do some diligence on the land, so nothing conclusive at this point in time.
Okay, sir. Cool. Thanks a lot. Very helpful.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Mayank Yanki from Axis AMC. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sir, can you please explain the structure of the Thane hospital that you are going for?
So, Mayank, let me take this question. So we have definitive agreements and understanding with the seller about the Hiranandani. We have given some advance also, but we are exploring the opportunity where we can have the asset-light model. So the third-party large investors and institutional investors who can hold this asset and give us on the lease. So these commercials are still under discussion, active discussion, and we should be concluding in next 2 to 3 weeks' time. And then we will communicate that. If we are not getting a good commercial deal, if we feel that doesn't work in the long term for the company, we will have the asset in our books. So the asset price is 250 crores, and the other cost will be roughly 200 crore rupees for equipment, refurbishment of the hospital, etc. Is roughly 450 to 475 crores of the total project cost. So depending upon whether it is asset light or on the lease model, the capex will move, Mayank.
Got it, sir. So the advances which you have given right now, in case it happens to be an asset light model, in that case that will be like a deposit or the rental will get deducted from it. And if you...
We will get this amount because we have paid to the building owners, land owners, we have paid it. So the investors will pay off to the seller and then we'll get our money back.
Okay. So the exact structure is something which will come out. And what is the potential in terms of number of beds in this hospital?
So as Dr. Abhinay told, it is 300 beds which we can occupy on this facility.
So the current capacity it's built to is 300 beds. There is additional FSI available for an incremental 50-75 beds in the same campus. But fortunately, there is a land parcel that can take up an incremental 1 lakh square feet, right adjacent to the current hospital.
So sorry, sir. The current building has 300 beds, right? For additional capacity, you need to take more land nearby, and you already have FSI in place, right? That's how.
There is FSI in the current campus, which can take up the bed strength from 300 to 375.
Okay.
Plus, there is an additional land available on which we can build another 1 lakh square feet.
Okay, and for this additional 375 beds from 300 beds, you will need to spend on construction as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Second question is on the Nagpur facility. I mean, it's been, I think, 3 quarters since you have that under you. I think you explained that you are 10%. Okay, 2 quarters, right? So you explained that you are still looking at doctor recruitments and all, and that is something which is because of which the ramp up probably is not happening. And on the margin side, you explained, I think, the cost savings structure, which can take the margin to 10%, right, at current revenue level only. So, so in generally, we have seen a very strong business momentum for hospitals across the country. And from that perspective, what is the difference between us and the competitor who are earning higher or POPs? And in the last 6 months, has there anything structurally happened in that sector because of which the patient flow or the revenue has not been able to ramp up, or it's just because of our internal issues where in certain therapies or departments we do not have the doctors?
So, I'll answer the question. The thing is, we've done this 7-8 acquisitions in the past, right? So there are acquisitions where it's a clean slate, like in the case of Vizag, Anantapur, Ongole, where there is nothing that we'll have to work with. It's almost as clean as possible, and we just bring new doctors and grow faster. But with both what we have seen with Sunshine and Nagpur, and I think this will be a pattern that we will see moving forward. Now, as soon as you go in and try to create change within the organization, it kind of leads to resistance, and it kind of leads to a lot of bad blood. So we need to give the current doctors and the new management some time for them to understand each other's way of functioning and build confidence. And we typically have seen we lose at least 6 months in trying to build that confidence among the current set of doctors, and then be able to bring new doctors from outside. Because there is a name change, there's an organization cultural change. So doctors outside are also trying to understand what is happening to this company. A new brand has come in, whether it be Sunshine or whether it is Nagpur. So there is a lot of insecurity in the organization because a new brand has come in. So we need to build that confidence, which takes that much time. It takes multiple meetings, multiple discussions with them. Once we have the confidence that things in-house are more in control and there is a lot of security among doctors, management and the rest of the people, that's when we start looking at bringing in new doctors and new talent for us to grow. So that is what we have seen in Nagpur for the last 6 months. We've stabilized things internally. Now we are starting to look at bringing doctors from outside, which we will do in the next 6 to 9 months, and then we'll start seeing the growth happening. Even on the cost optimization, if you go in and try to bring in aggressive measures to do cost optimization, it again leads to the same thing. Is the company more focused on cost than quality? What are they trying to do? What's the direction? So these are all the questions that they keep continuously raising. So before we do anything drastic, we need to win their confidence. We need to build a relationship with them and then start taking things forward. And that's what we have done, because this hospital already has 30 doctors in different specialties, certain doctors of high repute. So it's important to win their confidence before we drastically make measures in cost optimization and bringing in new doctors.
This is very helpful, sir. Sir, can you just give us probably the number of doctors who were there in this hospital when you took over, and how many are there right now? And if there has been any attrition among senior doctors in the last 6 months, and how many do you want to finally take this number to?
So we currently have around 30-35 doctors in Nagpur, and I'm talking about the doctors who are admitting patients in the hospital. There are other support doctors which I'm not talking to you about. Out of the 30-35 doctors, we have lost 3 doctors when we came in, and these 3 doctors' experience are in the range of 3 to 5 years. The doctors that we have lost, we have been immediately replaced them with 3 doctors of a similar caliber or slightly senior. There was only 2 new doctors. In addition to these 3, there are only 2 new doctors that we added in different specialties. That's how it has been. So the attrition, we've controlled any attrition, and we've controlled any exits of the doctors other than the 3 people who have left. And those 3 left, 1 month after we got into the system.
And in future plan additions in next, I don't know, 6 months or 12 months, or are we done with doctor recruitment now and this is the stable strength?
No, so this 30 doctors are enough for running the current volume of the hospital. But if we want to double or increase the revenues by 50%, we will have to bring in more doctors. And we intend to bring in at least 12 to 15 doctors in the next 6 to 9 months.
So that will happen as and when the revenue ramps up, right? Or the patient flow ramps up?
No, so the doctor comes in first, then the revenue ramps up.
Okay. So we will add more doctors in the next 2-3 quarters.
Correct. 2-3 quarters we should add more.
Great, so this is very helpful. Thank you and all the best.
Usually the acquisitions are a double-edged weapon unless you go very slowly, change the culture, understand the mindset of the employees and the patient requirements and the need of that facility of the new therapies and all. Instead of going a faster pace, I think it will be a slow pace that will be able to yield. We are very, very confident. There is a great potential. We will be able to achieve that. That's why purposefully we are going very slowly to change the entire thing. We are in the right direction.
So this is very helpful, sir. I mean, you have already done multiple successful acquisitions in the past, over the past decade or so. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. We take the next question from the line of Harit Ahmad from Avendus Spark. Please go ahead.
Good morning. Thanks for the opportunity. During FY23, we've acquired a minority stake at various hospitals at Sunshine, at Kondapur. So how much have we spent for these stake increases, and do we intend to continue acquiring minority stakes going forward as well?
So we have increased our stake in the 3 KIMS subsidiary, which is Sunshine Hospital and one of our Kondapur facility company and Srikakulam. Overall, we have spent the amount of roughly 95-96 crores to acquire this minority interest. And in the previous calls also we have told that yes, we remain inclined to increase our shareholding on these subsidiaries. As and when this opportunity arises, we are more than willing to acquire those shares based on the agreed value, which is win-win situation for all.
Okay. And looking at your specialty mix for FY23, I see that oncology is roughly 5% of our overall revenues. And given that this is a high ARPOB specialty, are we looking to add oncology centers at some of our hospitals where we don't have this capability currently? And 5% seems to be on the lower side when I compare with some of our peers. So that's why the question.
So of the current ex-Nagpur hospitals, the 11 facilities that we have, I think by end of the financial year, out of the ex-Nagpur 11 facilities, we should add oncology in 6 hospitals. May not be end of this financial year, but maybe in the next 24 months, all the 6 hospitals should have oncology. But moving forward, including Nagpur, Thane, Bangalore, and Nasik. Nasik, unfortunately, already has oncology, but the other hospitals that we are having, it is designed to accommodate oncology right from the beginning.
Okay, understood. Just a clarification on the Thane project. Are we having any discussions with doctors to co-invest in the project along with us? Because that's been our template for expansions, especially in newer markets. So anything on those lines?
Absolutely. Both in Nasik and in Thane, we are talking to doctors to co-invest along with us and be able to be part of a growth story that we want to create in Maharashtra. Nasik, we are seeing very promising results so far. Thane, we have met doctors 2 years back. There was a lot of interest then because the project got delayed. It took time for acquiring the project. We didn't go back to them. But I think once the work starts, we will approach all of them again, and we're pretty confident that we will see good traction there as well.
All right. That's all from my side. Thanks for taking my questions.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. So my first question is on your Telangana and AP matured assets. These both assets, what is the room for growth in these assets? Because they contribute about 75-80% of your EBITDA, and when we look at the OR and all, it's a fairly juiced up asset. So what would be the levers there?
So as far as Telangana is concerned, we have Secunderabad and Kondapur. So Kondapur, we're almost doubling or tripling our bed capacity for that facility. We're running at a 90 plus kind of an occupancy. So once there is more capacity, the current specialties will continue to grow aggressively. Plus, we will add new specialties like oncology, transplant, and so on and so forth, for us to further scale up and reach a higher occupancy from the Kondapur asset. Likewise, in Secunderabad, we are again reached, which is our flagship hospital, we've reached a certain size and scale in terms of our occupancy. We are also looking to expand and add more beds in that hospital. There is ample land available, and the area of focus in that new expanded hospital will be oncology. We want to scale up oncology in a much larger scale and size, mother and child, and gastroenterology. And obviously, we will create more room for the other specialties to continue to grow. That's as far as Telangana. AP acquired has 4 assets which are legacy assets, which is Rajahmundry, Nellore.
No, I wanted to only know about Telangana and AP matured, not AP acquired.
Yeah, I'm talking about AP matured, which are our legacy assets, which is Nellore, Rajahmundry, and Srikakulam. And all 3 of them, we are in fact doubling capacity there. But one, we have limited specialties, so we're adding specialties like oncology, mother and child. Once the capacity addition happens, this will help those hospitals grow.
So these 1,200 plus 645, 1,845 rooms, beds, how much more can it go? Or let's say the operational bed is 1,100 plus 600, so about 1,700.
So Telangana 1,200 will go to close to 2,000 beds.
Mm-hmm.
And your Andhra 645 will double to almost 1,200 beds.
So 800 and 600. So then another 1,400, right? 1,400 beds.
Yeah, correct.
So then the next question is, in 24 and in 20, so whatever your expansions that I can see, which is Bangalore, Nashik and Thane, they are slated to come in FY25, right?
In 24. Sorry, 25. Sorry.
FY25, right? All the 3.
Yes.
Whether it's half yearly or year end, I don't know, but they will be FY25. So a lot of benefits only will be in FY26.
Correct.
The existing assets, what is the bed addition that you have planned for 24 and 25? So this 1,400 beds which you are referring to, what is the plan of action in terms of addition?
So unfortunately, none of them will happen in this financial year, which is FY24. In FY25, Kondapur expansion will happen. In FY26, you will start seeing all the bed addition from Telangana and AP mature.
Okay. So then for FY24, your existing assets have any room for growth?
Yeah, so existing Telangana, if you look at, Secunderabad still is at a 70% occupancy. There is headroom for growth for the next 2 years. Whatever expansion we are doing, we are anticipating the growth beyond 3-4 years and then doing it today.
So when you say you have expand scope for improving the performance of these assets, can these assets grow high single digit, which is a combination of, or a double digit, which is a combination of ARPOB and OR?
No, I think so. The EBITDA will continue to grow at a high single digit for Telangana and AP mature, but a double digit growth on the EBITDA front would be difficult.
Okay. And my last question is, sir, when I look at your Thane investment, and when you mentioned it's a 450 crore asset, do we have an internal ROIC metrics? Because when you do a 450 crore asset, and if you had to put in the 450 crore, when you're not clear as of now what kind of asset, or let's say, asset light you're going to do, but let's say it is a 450 crore asset, then the ROIC in this asset will be less than 15%. So do we have an internal metrics of deciding on an investment or?
We do have an internal metric, and that is much higher than 15%, which is done historically. But as far as Thane is concerned, we're pretty confident that this investor will move forward. The dialogues have been ongoing for the last 12 months, and because we got the legal clearances off late, we're just trying to put things together. So when that does happen, it will again put back things in perspective and how we have historically done things. The other reason why we have decided to move forward on Thane is given that the Maharashtra cluster strategically fits in very clearly, and we are buying in a lot of time. Typically, a hospital in Bombay will take 4-5 years to operationalize. This will be operationalized in 9-12 months. And it's important for us to have assets coming in so we build more confidence in the doctor community. But when we announce the structure very soon, in the maybe next 35 to 40 days, you will see it will be very clearly aligned to what we have historically done.
Okay. And just hypothetical question, if it was a 450 crore investment from your side, which is 1.5 crore a bed, then what is the ROIC of a multi-specialty hospital come out to at a 450 crore, 1.5 crore investment?
I think the hospital is capable of. So how do we look at it? We look at it as one-time asset turn, 1 to 1.25 time asset turn, and a 25% margin. So the hospital still has the ARPOB and the bed capacity to achieve a one-time asset turn or a 1.25 asset turn, and 25% margin is something we have historically demonstrated. We'll continue to do that in this facility too.
So in that case, the ARPOB is not 40,000, sir. Then the ARPOB is much higher assumption.
It is much higher. So the current ARPOB in Thane.
Because when you take 40,000 on a 300 bed into 0.7 as utilization, then the revenue is 300 crores. And as soon as you take 400 crores, then the ARPOB is
50,000.
Yeah, it straight shoots to 50,000, 55,000 actually.
Yeah. So the current ARPOB of FY23 of a competitor in that market is around 39,000 rupees, and that is today. And you typically assume that the hospital takes 4 to 6 years of maturity, and the ARPOB will continue to grow as you start doing more complex work. So today, transplant in Thane is very insignificant, so that will grow. Oncology is very insignificant, that will grow. So we are pretty confident for as more hospitals come, the ARPOB also will grow.
Okay. And just one last clarification question. When you look at the slide 20, where you have a AP matured asset and a Telangana matured asset, for the ARPOB difference, the margin difference is not there. So what happens is just that the whole P&L with respect to the doctor cost changes between the two assets?
Sorry, could you come again? I didn't follow your question.
I said, if you look at the slide 20, for a ARPOB difference that we see, 50,000 versus 16,000, where everything else is the same, right? The utilization is the same, the ALOS is largely the same, but the margin is also the same. So what happens in a P&L of 16,000 ARPOB and what happens in a P&L of 47,000 ARPOB asset?
The cost structures are very different, right? So doctor payouts are different, HR payouts are different, local cost of operations are different.
So basically the surgical or that case mix that you have will be completely different here, and hence the doctor cost will be completely different.
The case mix will more or less be 70% there. The case mix you will not see substantially different. But the doctor cost, if you're paying a doctor 7-8 lakhs in a city like Hyderabad, you will end up paying 3 lakhs there. If your average cost per employee is 35,000 in Hyderabad, your average cost of employee there will be around 18 to 20,000. So there's a difference there. And the way, the kind of technology that you would have invested for and followed by their AMC, CMC contracts will still be very different from what you're doing there. So we'll have to, based on the market that you're operating and the ARPOB that we can expect from the market, you'll have to tailor-make the cost accordingly.
Okay. And lastly, sir, what is the debt figure you mentioned for FY24 when you would get into this capex for as a large greenfield capex is now within announced? So what will the debt go up to?
So Pritesh, Vikas this side. So right now the net debt is at around 300 crore rupees.
Sorry, sir, you are not audible.
Is this clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Pritesh, what you have to look at is 2 years horizon, because the whole project, which is Bangalore, Nashik, and the Thane, will overgo 12 to 15 months time period. So if you look at our cash flow, we are generating roughly 400 crore rupees of the revenue cash flow for the full year. And if you take a holistic 2 years picture, we are generating something like 800 crore rupees cash. And that is the amount which we will be investing for our growth projects which we have taken, plus minus here and there. So some debt may come up front, depending upon the projects which we are taking up, whether it is like Thane, we are not still decided. So based on that, some debt may come up front, but over a period of time, in next year's times when we are speaking with you in FY25, we'll be in the same situations of very comfortable debt to EBITDA. We are a very conscious company and a disciplined company, and we believe that we should not cross 1.5 to 1.7 times of the debt to EBITDA. This is what the board has given us the guidance.
And what's your net debt right now?
It's roughly 300 crores.
Okay. Thank you very much and all the best to you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pritesh.
Thank you. We take a next question from the line of Omkar Kapekar from Pandu Port Pool. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, first, one question with respect to the lease term. So, when we take any asset that is on the asset light model, so what is the average lease term or approximately?
We have a 30-year. Usually, we have a 30-year contract.
Okay.
We only have 2 leased assets, and most of them are on a 30-year contract.